Hey, ladies and gents, it's Rob Bass from the Geekcast Live podcast, and you're listening to the Movie Podcast Network.
If you like what we do here, or if you're just bored, head on over to patreon.com and give us some love, or some cash, or change, or a tip jar, or whatever you're feeling. Patreon.com is a place where you can support us, other podcasters, other creatives, and just give a little back to those that you like. Check us out. Look up Geekcast Live at patreon.com and support us any way you can. We would appreciate it.
Don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes or YouTube, or follow us on SoundCloud. Be sure to comment, like, review, leave cynical comments, or call Nick mean names. He likes when you do that.
Like books? Hate to read? Have ears? Like to listen? Well, we have a solution. Audible.com, where there's over like 1 million or something books that you can listen to with your ears. Go to audible.com/geekcastlive for a nice kick in the pants.
Hello, this is Sherlock Holmes. If you can't get enough Cartoon Joe, check him out on this Freakin' Show podcast on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m.
It's a trap! Buckle up, everybody. Welcome to Season 4 of the Geekcast Live podcast. I am your host, GCR, and with me, as always,
Rob Bass with a hot poker, apparently.
It's Nico.
And Cartoon Joe.
And we are back after a month-long hiatus.
Hey, welcome.
I bet you missed us.
Better have.
And if you did miss us, I highly suggest going to our Patreon page and finding our outtake Easter egg.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did get together, and we recorded.
We thought about you.
We recorded our plugs, and we thought it was funny enough for your approval. And so on Patreon, at the $10 level, we have our first ever bonus episode, if you will, there for your listening pleasure.
Amusement.
And
Dino,
putting
Gomez,
much more content up there.
Brett, I know that you guys are all Patreon backers. You're just not backing at the level that gets you access to the thing. So just throw that out there. Good call, Nick, and reminded me about that. That was nicely done.
I've listened to it several times this week when I've been feeling low.
It makes me, I don't know if I channeled like a 80-year-old smoker at the end there.
I actually thought that I might have actually widowed my girl, Natalie. I
don't think I've ever laughed like that in my entire life.
It was like a hyperventilated deep guffaw with the chest cold. It was awesome.
I had nothing left in me. I don't want to give up. I don't want to give up the punchline, but when it was said,
no, don't taint it.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to give it up. But I lost my shit.
I for sure lost it, and there's other things in there that I'd kind of forgotten when I listened to them on the playback, just like when I was messing around the house. It makes me laugh out loud, and I'm listening on my headphones. So, the wife looks at me like, "What? Is it the same thing? Are you laughing at the same thing?" Yeah, it's funny every time. I'm sorry. It makes me happy.
Hey, you had headphones, and listeners, if you have an opinion, please say it. If I was in the market for, am I a poser if I get myself some Beats by Dre?
Yes.
You're a lemming.
Is what you want. V-Moda give me free shit. Yeah. No, V-Moda is where it at. Like, if you want to spend money on headphones, they have incredibly high quality, wonderful definition, just amazing headphones. I could not recommend them enough.
They're actually what I use for the show.
Do they have the wireless thing down?
I think they do have wireless headphones now, actually. If that was the thing that you were looking for. Yeah.
That's key to me.
Yeah, they definitely, I'm looking at their page now, they definitely have wireless headphones now, so.
Okay. So I don't want to be like Pharrell.
No, you do not. You
Almost
want
never.
Vmoda, give me free shit.
Well, I owned the hat, like the big like Ranger Rick hat. So I thought
that makes sense. You
Beats
might as well
too.
go with Beats then at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean to take us there, but Nick said headphones, and I'm in the market. So Vmoda.
Speaking of headphones,
Vmoda.
and speaking of Lemony Snicket, the best work of Lemony Snicket is the Latka who couldn't stop screaming. In case anybody was wondering,
No.
Were we speaking of Lemony Snicket?
I was.
Were you?
Okay.
Were we? Have you watched any of that yet, Nick?
I can't watch it for at least a month.
Oh, that makes sense. Well, okay.
Sure.
Well, I'll get back to you in a month then, and we'll discuss it some.
Yeah, it's on my list.
For those of you who have been waiting a month only to listen to like 20 minutes of insane babble, we do have guests coming up later this episode, and I'm hoping you'll enjoy who they are. It's Chris Dalby and Allison Montalvo from the Song of Ice and Fire discussion group, and they've got some cool updates for us. So if you stay through this part of the show, you will be rewarded.
Endure it, and you'll be rewarded.
You know what I keep forgetting is that discussion group actually has a name other than the big group.
Right?
Like when I talk about it in casual everyday conversation, I'm like, yeah, so I was chatting in the big group. Or someone posted something in the big group.
There's almost as many people in that group as there are in stadiums that watch sporting events.
Mm-hmm.
There's more people in that group that Wrigley Field can hold.
I think that there's more people in that
pretty
group
amazing.
than in Lafayette, Indiana.
That also
Not as amazing.
Could be
that
possible.
also might be true. So anyway, a lot of things have happened in the month since we've been off. I can't remember if Carrie Fisher died before or after we signed off.
It was after.
I think
after.
I think
Was it
after.
after? So we lost our princess, we lost our general, we lost George Michael.
Mm-hmm.
We just lost Mary Tyler Moore today.
Yeah, I saw that actually.
It's 2016 really wrapped up in a fantastic way, did it not?
It wrapped up
That's a
in
word.
a way, that's for sure.
It wrapped up in a way. You dick four.
The arbitrary march of time continued, and we decided to change our calendars over, Rob says.
The year was wearing reading glasses to show the time had passed.
They were the cool 2017 ones.
We did get an episode 8 title for Star Wars since we've been off.
Yeah,
I think
true.
it's kind of lame, but
What is it again?
It's the Last Jedi.
Yeah, it's really, really fucking limp.
That's kind of how I felt about it too. Like, I'm sure that it will tie in with the movie, but like, could you have hit it any more on the nose? Were you like,
I'm just
who said
looking forward
how
to
did
when
how did the round table go for that? Like, hey guys, so we've got this Star Wars movie that we're making. Yeah, obviously, episode 8. So what should we call it? Well, I mean, we've got more Jedi in there. We've got Luke Skywalker. He's right now the Last Jedi. So we've got the Last Jedi,
that sounds
and then
really...
we've got
quit talking. We're just going with that.
Just the Last Jedi.
But there's more than one Jedi. Don't worry about it. We'll iron
that's
it out
fine.
in post-production.
Okay,
Honestly, I'm
then
just looking forward to when he drives the Red Bull back into the sea, and then all of the other Jedi come back out of the waves.
What?
Did you go strange Bible reference?
No, I went Last Unicorn reference.
Oh,
Who?
Even better.
The Last Unicorn. It's a pretty horrific animated film from the 70s that I would recommend to anyone.
Yes.
Strange Ranger.
That did get a little.
That
weird
Last
there,
Jedi took all the wind out of my sails.
Well, we can go ahead and just call it quits for the years now. Like that. We're done.
I think my problem with it is that like the Force Awakens but
which
there's
is all
only
right.
one
Like
Jedi.
that follows the
toed
trend
the
of like
line.
the Phantom Menace and A New
That's
Hope.
Rob. Bad names are not a trend. Bad titles are not a trend.
No, I think
The Phantom
I thought it
Menace
was
is
fine.
the single worst movie title ever put on this earth.
I absolutely
Ever.
disagree. I thought that it was incredibly fitting.
Give me a worse one.
It's not. You're wrong.
A worse movie title?
No.
Tusk.
Tusk.
Wrong.
Human Centipede.
Wrong.
I think what I was getting at.
Why is Phantom
Ghost
Menace so
Dad.
bad?
Ghost Dad. that's a season 2 callback when Russillo and fucking SVP were still.
Oh yes.
I think what I was getting at is that how can the Force awaken, but there's only one Jedi?
Well, okay. To clarify, Jedi and Sith are not the only Force users in the entirety of the Star Wars universe, and that's even canon now because of Chirrut.
Do you think that's what they're doing though?
Absolutely, and there's actually even more canon stuff with that in Rebels because there's something called the Bendu, but I haven't watched any Rebels, so I can't speak with any more authority on that. There are more than like the Jedi and the Sith are not the only factions that are Force sensitive in the Star Wars.
Well,
canon.
you know what? They should be.
Why?
They should.
They should build a galactic wall.
Because not everything has to be an equal opportunity special power. Fucking new age twats.
It's not.
What?
You kidding, Nick?
The midichlorians are the key to all of this.
I know it'll make Nick feel better and be less angsty, guys. I have the key. I can solve it. You ready?
Do it.
Jar Jar Binks.
For the love of God, do it.
Marvel Infinity casting news.
Yeah.
So Peter the Dinklage. Peter the Dinklage is going to be in the MCU for at least for a multi-picture gig.
Now, we all know Nick is upset that he was previously attacking mutants in a movie, and before that character was actually a 6'4" black guy.
But
I'm extremely upset.
So whom is the Dinklage playing in the MCU?
I'm really hoping
it's some like Holdor thing, something I never heard of.
MODOK?
I don't think it's MODOK now.
Yeah, that. Yeah, he's playing Murdoch. 18
MODOK.
This means something. I know it.
Hold on.
What about the Watcher?
Peter Dinklage as Howling Mad Murdoch in a weird 18 reboot of the Bradley Cooper 18 reboot.
All I care about is who plays B.A. Baracus. Because I'm pretty sure we had a Quentin Rampage Jackson episode last year.
We did.
If
does it have to be Kevin Hart? Does it have to be Kevin Hart based on?
No, I'm saying if Howling Mad Murdoch is being played by Peter Dinklage, and he was played in the remake by Charlotte Copley, that in the remake of Bradley Cooper's 18, B.A. Baracus is played by Michael Stipe from R.E.M.
So we're doing kind of a Joe break the fourth wall recast kind of deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that's been cleared up.
Or he's played by Barack Obama.
Now we're talking.
Barack Obama as B.A. Baracus is one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen in my life.
Dinklage gives you that power.
I pity the fool.
I do.
Let me be clear. I have pity for fools.
This could be a lot of fun, actually.
Saturday Night Live skit. Anyway, I think the Dinklage, I'm with you, Rob. I think he's playing the Watcher.
I could be really down for that. I think that would work really well.
It ruins our Stan Lee is the Watcher Reddit technobabble, but
which should be the case as far as I'm concerned. But
Nick, does that side mean you're tired of talking about Marvel?
Yeah.
Well, what else?
I don't know. I do not know any of the peripheral Marvel characters that you're naming. You could just be making stuff up. So
how do you know we're not?
It's fine if you are.
Oh.
Totally fine. I don't need or care about any more Marvel characters.
Marvel does have big news coming tomorrow, though. I don't know if you guys saw that on their Twitter.
I did. I'm really excited to see what it is.
I don't know what I don't think. Do you think it's going to be movie related? I wonder if
they took our show seriously and they've reacquired the X-Men rights.
Oh, don't tease me.
I'm saying
Bro.
Fantastic Four. And
that's not exciting news. No one cares about Fantastic Four anymore.
It is if you're going to recast it, not make it an origin story, and just pop them right in the middle of the Infinity War.
Oh
yes.
God.
Which is starting filming this week.
I'm about it.
Who just did like a mad keyboard type scramble?
Oh, that's me. Sorry.
No, what did you search up?
Marvel news.
Oh.
Just in general.
I hope Spider-Man Homecoming flops massively.
Do you?
I wish that upon you. Yes, I do.
The first non-origin story reboot you hope fails.
Yeah, because I want it to. I'm not going to see it as strictly as a social protest because of the Tobey Maguire era.
You're protesting the Tobey Maguire era?
Yeah, because they made how many shitty Spider-Man movies to this point? You've stolen enough people's money with Spider-Man. Now burn.
I love that you're protesting the Tobey Maguire era.
Yeah.
I want a Facebook page in movement. Stat.
That's like boycotting Apple because Steve Jobs didn't have anything to do with his daughter in the 80s.
Kind of.
Like, I just want to go ahead and let you know exactly how dumb that sounds.
Steve Jobs didn't trick me via his poor parenting into purchasing his products. So I can look at it a little less dispassionately. I had every reason to believe the first Spider-Man was going to be an okay flick.
Your arguments right now on both sides of this aisle are on fleek. I'd throw that out there.
I'd argue his poor parenting is what gave him the laser focus to make such great products.
Yeah, his douchebaggery is what leads to my technology happiness. So, I mean, I don't condone it, but I'm not exactly out anything.
Oh, I see. So now I understand.
But maybe if he had more to do with his daughter, the product would have been better.
It's true. Maybe we wouldn't be stuck with fucking Tim Cook now.
Fair.
And boy, are we stuck.
Fair.
Boy, are we stuck with that lack of visionary.
Sack of suet.
Oh, God.
Wait, that's Wayman Manderley. But yeah, I'm not going to have anything to do with that. Maybe I'm the only one, but I hope it flounders.
You are.
Some other news that happened in our break. The Winds of Winter
did not come out.
Is not yet released. So there's also that.
I've had thoughts.
This is kind of out there comparatively, and I don't know if any of you guys had seen anything about this, but Amazon's doing something really cool. They just recently started up. I guess you can subscribe to this service where they will, and you get to like select an age group for like your kid or whoever you're going to subscribe to this service, and you get this like kit of science projects every month, and it's just really fucking dope. I don't know why anybody hasn't done anything like this yet, and Amazon's the outlet for it. Everybody uses it, and it's got everything there. So
I looked at it today.
Can you send us a link or something to that? I would like to investigate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll put it up
you
in
can
the show
actually
notes
check it out on our Facebook page on Geekcast Live.
No. I want you to send it to me.
You want the only person that listens to this asshole.
Slowly.
Fighter.
Right.
Shampoo bottle over there.
Oh. Shove it right up.
I looked it up today. There's 3 age brackets. It looks like 3 to 4, 5 to 7, and then like 8 to 13. And so I'm guessing that the level of science-y or intrigue, not intrigue. What word am I looking for? Difficulty, maybe. Obviously boosts with the depth, might be the word I'm looking for, with the age group. So it looks like it's $19.99 a month. They send it to you in a box, kind of like Loot Crate. So
that's pretty cool.
I think it's very cool.
So go Amazon. That's really like that. That's seriously something that's really awesome.
Yeah, I'm all about that. I want to investigate that substantially.
Be neat if it actually saves Amazon.
Well played.
We'd have to stop the deforestation of the rainforest, I think, to do that joke, to be honest with you.
No, I mean, like they've been operating at a loss for like 6 years.
What?
Well,
stop yourself.
Yeah, their model sucks.
Moving on.
Logan trailer came out while we were gone.
Yes.
Speaking of Marvel and dead horsing,
might not. It has yet to have gotten an R rating. At this point,
better hurry up.
No, I think it recently did.
Did it just get it?
I think that like this week had gotten its R rating.
Aha. Well, that's good.
I actually think they'll go the other way. They've got to make that they've got to capture that teen audience, so they'll dumb
like
it down.
G.
No,
G-rated.
they'll trim it down enough to be PG-13.
Why? They were going
Because
for an R rating to begin with.
I don't buy it.
They did it with Deadpool.
Fox doesn't own
What
Deadpool.
is this? Like, do you just live
Fox
in a world of
does.
alternative
Yeah, it does.
facts?
Fox owns Deadpool.
I refuse to believe that. That's no.
You
Because
do
that
just
would mean
live,
that Fox.
you
That would
have
mean
to
that
just
Fox
live
made
in
a
this
good
world of
movie.
alternative facts. It's blowing my mind.
That would mean that Fox 1 made a good movie, which I refuse to believe. And 2, you can't just duplicate magical one-offs. And I don't think anything in the Wolverine story arc is going to capture that kind of.
It is officially rated R, by the way.
Yeah.
Did it get its rating?
Then it'll officially lose money.
As of 2 days ago. Why?
But you heard it here
Why would
first.
it lose money? Deadpool was the highest grossing R-rated
Because
film
the
of all
Wolverine
time.
story arc is tired, and the last one barely did anything. So I just
Also, rated R movies generally make less money than PG-13 movies.
Which is fair, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be completely outcast because it's an R-rated movie now.
I bet if you gave it a PG-13 rating, it would make more money than it's going to make as a rated R movie. However, I want it to be rated R. So
yeah, I think it will be a better film for having its R rating.
I also still think it's going to be a phenomenal film based on the trailers.
Yeah.
Trailers have done it nothing but justice. The music involved, the old Patrick Stewart saying "fuck" is funny to me.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that the X-Men comics exist in the X-Men universe. It's a little weird, but
yeah, it's a dystopian future.
It's a little meta.
I love some meta stuff, so I'm good.
What's
the
your
only thing that
favorite
could make
meta
it better is a Deadpool cameo or maybe a Deadpool old Logan.
What do you think about Pierce Brosnan most likely being Cable?
I'm not upset about it, actually.
No, I think that's probably fine. Is he going to have his?
That was
mustache?
a very, very soft sell there, Joe.
Yeah, you're like the world's okayest DM.
It'll be good.
I'm a master of understatement.
Has anybody seen Quentin Tarantino's Grindhouse?
No.
I
did watch The Hateful Eight the other night, though.
How was that?
Well, it's one of those. If you like Quentin Tarantino, it's great. If you don't like Quentin Tarantino, it's good.
Insufferable?
No, in no way is it insufferable. I mean, it's genre-y, if that's a word.
Did you hear the kerfuffle about the guitar
that he smashed?
Yeah.
No, I know nothing of any fluffle.
So Quentin Tarantino gets a hold of the American heritage music.
You told me that. Did you tell us the story once? Maybe you
I
did.
might
This
have.
now it's starting to come back.
I don't remember it. I didn't hear the story.
Well, they give him like a 100-year-old Gibson guitar. It's been played. It was played by someone of note, and it was in the museum. It's a irreplaceable guitar. It's an irreplaceable piece of Americana. And there's a scene in The Hateful Eight where the guitar is being played, and then Kurt Russell grabs it and smashes the guitar against the wall. Well, no one told him that we're gonna end scene, swap this guitar that's priceless out with just any old guitar, and you're gonna smash just generic guitar.
Oh man!
So Kurt Russell destroys this unreplaceable piece of American history all over the fucking place.
He does wreck that thing.
And
it's a really long movie. It's unnecessarily long, but I mean it is good. It's avant-garde, Tarantino-ish.
It's probably my favorite Channing Tatum.
It's up there. It's top 3 Tatums.
Right, but where it's number 3 behind Magic Mike and Magic Mike XXL.
No, behind the second Magic Mike and the first G.I. Joe.
Oh, nice.
Duke Tatum is the man.
Duke Tatum, who has said publicly, according to a cracked article I read, sourcing, that if it wasn't for the fact that he signed like a 4-picture contract, there's not a chance in hell he'd have been in that many G.I. Joe movies.
Admirable.
Yes, verily.
Actually, my favorite Tatum is what the hell was that just nut job Coen Brothers flick with
Hail Caesar?
Yes. I'm not happy I paid money for that, but Tatum was good in it.
It's sitting on my DVR right now. Should I delete it?
No, it's a perfectly fine DVR. You didn't pay for it, did you?
No. Well, I pay for HBO.
No, it's a perfectly fine HBO
so
consumption.
facto.
Yeah, no, you're perfectly fine with that.
Has anyone seen Grindhouse?
If you ask me that again, I'm going to come through this phone and throat punch you.
Is there a salient topic you'd like to discuss about Grindhouse?
It's weird. I just watched Kurt Russell kill a car full of women with a car, very graphically. Like one girl's leg flies off, another girl in the back seat takes like the front.
That's Tarantino's new thing.
Tire to the face. It's brutal. Now there's some sassiness going on with some finger waving, some hands on the hips. Yeah. Anyway, I digress.
Oh, this is the one that's like Death Proof and Planet Terror. Gotcha.
Yes, I think I'm watching Death Proof right now. I just got done watching Planet Terror.
Gotcha. I saw a cracked video about Death Proof once, but
really,
yeah, there's a good Dan O'Brien. What happened to this character that no one paid attention to? Episode.
I'll tell you, it'd be great if Cracked would just kind of absorb us into like a.
There's a good chance all we'd have to do is like apply.
Like a subsidiary.
Just send them a card.
Yeah, basically.
Nick, get on that.
I'm on it.
Well, we do have. I mean, we do have two guests that we probably can't keep waiting.
So, guess?
If anybody doesn't have anything else to add to the what happened while we were gone, besides the Antichrist being inaugurated into the White House.
Oh, Horcrux.
I went to New York for New Year's and visited a bookstore that you got to go to if you ever get the chance. It's called The Strand. I'd never heard of it before, but they have like 18 miles worth of books on their shelves. And I picked up 2 of the books of the Dark Tower series for, I think my total cost was about $20. And they were like the nice hardcover editions. So
Strand.
It's a really excellent bookstore, and they've got other really cool things. And if you're into rare books, they've got that. But they've got like their, especially if you just wanted to pick up like mass market paperbacks, or they also have a service where you can like buy books by the foot if you just want to like have a library of books that you can show people. It's pretty neat. So I'd recommend them.
Control over what books are in the foot?
Not directly. You can control what type of books they are.
Okay.
Like you can say, I would like a foot of books on politics, please. And they'll try to find you books on politics that stack up to about a foot.
That's brilliant.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah, it's also just a badass bookstore. It's like 4 stories, and oh man, it was great. Bibliophile Dream.
Where was it at again?
It's in New York City, but you can find them online. Let me see if I can find their website real quick. You can find them online at strandbooks.com.
Fantastic.
That makes sense.
I added those keyboard noises in post-production, by the way, in case you were wondering.
I liked it. Very meta of you.
It makes the searching seem more intense.
Shall we bring on guests?
We probably should.
Hey, guests.
Well, we do have 2 guests tonight, though. So let's not lose too much of a trajectory, Nick.
Didn't have to add that part.
What, the trajectory part? Anyway, one voice you should recognize.
We needed to level it at you specifically. You're the problem child here.
One voice you should recognize. This is his 3rd time on the show, and then one voice is delightful and a new voice on the show. We have the editors of the anthology Delve, Chris Dalby.
Hey, everyone. Please stop sending me marriage proposals since the last time I was on.
And Allison Montalvo.
Hey, boys.
How we doing?
Welcome.
Great. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Great to have you guys, both of you.
Awesome. That might be the most pleasant guest voice we've ever had. I mean,
You're too kind.
It's not quite the velvety tones of Dr. Arnold Blumberg.
Or ASAP.
I'll tell you, it is pleasant to the ears.
The velvety tones of Dr. Arnold Blumberg are truly amazing. When you're hearing this, Arnie, we love you.
You know what, Dolbs? I actually forgot that you and Dr. Blumberg were peers, I guess, contemporaries, friends.
Well, yeah, because Dr. Arnold Blumberg's significant other is one of my closest friends, Natalie Lutovsky.
Well, there you go.
It's name drop.
What a small world. We often play 6 Degrees of Chris Dalby. It's just a fun little thing we do.
Yeah, but none of you are going to get past degree 2. You can't take it. Well, Nick might. We all know that he's passed.
I have a high pain tolerance.
Yikes.
So
to the pain.
So you guys have been busy. Well, I mean, editing an anthology and all.
We've been trying.
Yeah. Yeah, uncharted waters, but definitely trying.
Well, tell us a little bit about Delve and this whole project.
Yeah, tell us how it came about.
So originally the concept, as we talked about on the last time I was on, our Facebook group has been growing. We're now well over 50,000 people, and we've been trying to get together a lot more at different conventions. And the goal of Delve is to raise funds to help our members go to Worldcon 75, which is next August in Helsinki, Finland. And so Delve was originally just a fun idea, like 9-10 writers each. None of us published, none of us professional writers, but each of us trying our hand at the craft for the first time and seeing what stuck. Allison came on board very early on as an editor. And as we were reading the stories, we decided actually this could be more than we thought. We decided to move past just marketing it around our friends and to really make something of it. So Allison and I in recent months have been learning not just how to edit, but how to put together a book, how to structure it, how to the lovely cover was designed by Allison herself. I've been tackling the whole Amazon self-publishing thing, but ultimately what this is a set of 9 stories, each of which fantasy or sci-fi, each of which from cover to cover goes deeper and deeper into fantasy and fiction. So when you read the book, whether you find the stories to your taste or not, whether you like 1 or 9, they will take you in 9 different directions. There was no unifying theme to this book. We really let the authors have free reign with their creativity.
Yeah, and I ended up very happy with, how it all ended up getting put together, even though there was some concern that with no guiding theme, it might end up a little bit disconnected. But I'm very pleased with how it all turned out.
I mean, it's just an awesome showcasing of new writers. I think like there are some pieces that I definitely like more than others, but it was just a great way to showcase people getting into writing and trying their hand at publishing and such.
Thank you.
Well, and we the goal, obviously, the goal here was to give new writers a voice. As we go, this was the first in what I hope to be a series of many. Where Allison and I are already thinking about how to do the second anthology. We can come back to that later in the show if you want. But what this was for me, what this was more than a project of love. I think you have a lot of writers out there, a lot of fantasy fans who one day I'll write a book, one day I'll finish my story, one day I'll be the next George R.R. Martin. Well, I don't know if the writers in here will be the next George R.R. Martin. But they did write a book. They did finish this work. It is going to send people to Helsinki, and I think it is a testament to the will of a small group of people who just wanted to get their ideas on paper and wanted people to read them. And the feedback has been positive, as you said. Perhaps not every story is to everyone's liking, but we stand by what we produced.
Rob, do you feel a very subtle Dalby coming at us for not meeting our deadlines?
Yes, absolutely. But
that was not what I mean at all. Ryan is the one who actually named this anthology.
Yeah, that's true. And you redeemed yourself by allowing us on here. So, it's all even. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all we had to do. Shit.
And this has been episode 1 of season 4. Redeemed. Thanks for coming on, and
thanks for having us.
I know that I haven't finished the entire anthology, so full disclosure. But Dalby, I did read yours, knowing that you were coming on the show. So, very, very American Gods, Neil Gaiman of you.
That is a tremendous compliment. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was a very interesting story. Young man.
Well, I'm very happy with the feedback I got on it. It was the story was actually inspired by an Iraqi friend of ours, Rua, on the group, who was telling us last summer about how it was impossible to keep cool in summertime Iraq. And I was playing around with the idea. I was playing around with that actually sounds quite fun. Like someone desperately trying to keep cool. How would you do that? How would you add a fantasy twist to that? And so from that very pedestrian idea, from the most basic of things you do, came the idea of the gods and came the idea of the different pantheons. And I'm going to keep that universe going, actually. I'm working on the next couple of stories in that world.
With that same character further development, or just that concept?
No, it's going to be so one story is going to be about the prayer customer service department in heaven, and the tedious bureaucracy there. And the other one I'm working on is 4 random gambling gods from various ancient cultures are thoroughly bored. They've tested every single method of gambling in the world, and they suddenly discover that they have never bet on pigeon racing, and they become obsessed with pigeon racing and all its intricacies.
Who wouldn't?
I mean, if you were a god,
that's fantastic.
That's just
What else would you do?
My feeling is that after that's published, pigeon racing is going to replace the NFL.
Probably draw more viewers at this point.
It's most likely better than Thursday Night Football. So
it's going to become the National Flying League. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, it's going to retain the NFL acronym then.
Well, yeah, you got to give people a hook to keep them watching.
Gotcha.
You're going to get them like little tiny jerseys that they're going to participate in, or how does it work?
I haven't thought about.
Will they organize by team? Is it going to be an individual thing? I mean, how far are you willing to take this down the rabbit hole?
Okay, you know what? You'll have to bring me back on season 5. I'll have to work out the entire rules of the National Flying League.
What's it like, though, being, I mean, as of right now, you're the de facto commissioner of the NFL.
Well, actually, I was going to offer it to Ryan Elliott.
Oh.
Good God, I can barely manage our fantasy football league. So
the problem being is
I'm successfully managed.
I'm British and French, and as has recently been shown, most Americans don't know there's a world outside their borders, so I think it's just going to be confusing. But I'm very glad you like the story.
I know there's islands in the Caribbean. I know that for sure.
Doesn't America have a hat?
Canada.
America's ass hat.
No.
Yes.
Well, I actually read a couple of them, but I think one of my favorite ones was Daniel McNell's The End in the Beginning.
Mm-hmm.
That was just really, really like just beautifully barbaric piece, especially at the beginning. But I really, really enjoyed the characters and the development. That torture scene was kind of rough. Like it was well done.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that story. Also, it has a very Joe Abercrombie type vibe to it.
It does.
Name dropper.
What? It's the Geek cast, right?
No. And that story was all the more fitting because I think all the other stories have a fairly like not optimistic, but they're high fantasy. And I think that story went into the gritty, like low, dirty battlefield fun.
Yeah. No, I really enjoy that sort of stuff. It was right up my alley. I picked 2 random stories out of it to read before this, and I'm gonna go through the rest of them. But I'm really glad that was one of them that I grabbed a hold of. The other one was a Sparkling Heart of Stone, and I didn't know what I was really getting into whenever I picked it because that was the first one that I read.
No one knows what they're getting into.
But it was very like it was a great fairy tale. I was not expecting Fred the guinea pig or Smash the ogre, who is an aspiring writer. Like it was an interesting cobbled together piece. So I ended up liking that one a lot more than I thought I was going to. So
yeah, Chris and I felt the same way while we were reading through it. The first time we were like, it starts out and you're very confused as to what you're reading, but by the end you're like, that was adorable, and they loved it.
It's also by far the most likely story to have Rule 34 generation.
For better or worse, I guess.
Yeah, I will say this is probably some form of inside baseball, but my favorite part about this journey from start to finish has been the Facebook Messenger group that was created originally to lay down the groundwork and the rules and to throw some feedback off of other authors that has spawned into it's almost had like fits of rage where suddenly it's been 4 days and no one has talked about the anthology or their writing process or bounced ideas off of each other. Instead, it's been 4 days of like GIFs and like pseudo porn. It's been wonderful.
I think pseudo porn makes it sound a little more appealing than it is, but
oh no, yeah, it's not it's not good porn by any means.
Yeah.
It's like Hungarian porn. What do you?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the second edition of the book where it says Geekcast cover. It's not good porn. Thank you.
That's actually you just titled this episode, Dalby, inadvertently. You have named this episode.
Yes.
I think I just titled the second anthology as well.
If the anthology could be some sort of fantasy or sci-fi Rule 34 collection, that would be fantastic.
Please no.
Honestly, that's what I've been waiting for to come out these last
Some sci-fi erotica.
Yeah, Rob would hit his deadlines for sure.
Amateur sci-fi and fantasy erotica.
Well, I think that should be the
Where have we
The story of
gone?
William and May wasn't enough for you?
I would like to point that the only sex scene in the entire book is in the first story, so I don't know what you're bitching about.
Yeah.
That is true.
Allison, as you got pulled into this project, was there a conscious decision to not contribute a piece, to just take on the editorial role? Did you start one, think about one?
No, there was at no point a consideration that I would write. I am much more comfortable as of now in the editorial role and helping people work through their stories and figure out what's best for them. Perhaps in the future.
I want to throw it out there for volume 2 that I expect to see a smattering of your actual writing in the next one of these. Just throwing it out there.
I am completely on board with that.
Chris has been pushing me for this for months.
I'll third it.
I don't.
Oh, goodness.
I don't
Now
want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy, but
you will.
I certainly expect to see a short story by our own Nick Cordero in the next anthology.
You can, if you'd like.
That.
Sure,
I would.
Sure, why
Very
not?
much so.
Yeah,
You realize that's how
you guys
that's
meeting
how
deadline for
Ash
the next
versus
one.
Evil Dead becomes true, right?
Speaking of anthology number 2, are there any hints that you can drop on us? Any thoughts behind the curtain as to what it might be about?
Yeah. So Allison and I have both agreed that the second anthology will be a little bit different in structure.
Mm-hmm.
It will have longer stories and fewer writers, and it will have an overarching theme. We haven't decided on what that theme will be yet, but I think this is what I mean. This anthology was an excellent first step. I do encourage everyone to buy it. I think you'll have fun with it. I think everybody who picks it up will at least find a few stories that they enjoy. I think even with Nick, that seems to have been the case with you four. For the second one, we're gonna do a little bit of a different approach here. We want people to be able to spread their wings a little bit. The limit for this was 10,000 words for each writer. The next one will probably be 20,000, and we'll probably reduce the writers to about 5 or 6.
Wow.
And as just established, the theme will be erotica.
Sci-fi erotica.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm sorry. It will only be 25th century Sonic the Hedgehog erotica based in Western Arizona.
That limits me, but I can work with it.
Waiting for this my whole life.
I think I've already got stuff drummed up for this.
Well, it's very Raising Arizona. It's got a feel to it.
Oh, trust me, Arizona's going to be risen.
If it's a Nick Cage project, I'm out.
And if you don't name your story Arizona Rising, you're just a pussy.
I'm going to double back to something that's actually interesting. I'm going to double back to something that Chris said earlier about the origin of his piece. I actually really like that idea. The idea, for me, I write better when somebody throws something at me randomly, and I am not tasked with coming up with the topic of origin. And that makes sense now, having read your piece. I can sort of see a little bit inside your head how that played out. I did read several of these. I started with yours because I knew we were going to talk. And of course, I was hoping I could really heckle you, but sadly, it did not come about that way. I really did like it. And not just from the content standpoint, because I think especially when somebody gives a person, that fantasy umbrella that they can just either do one of two things, which is start picking apart pieces of every, Tolkien, J.K. Rowling, George R.R. Martin story they've ever read and hobble it together, or just completely go, take the left fork in the road, which is clearly what happened with yours. And I like that a lot, especially in the short story format. Completely unique, very well written, the sentence structuring, the dialogue flowed. I'm a literary critic. I write a lot personally and professionally, but I'm a huge proponent of creative writing, especially quote unquote amateur writing. So that your piece in particular, I enjoyed from start to finish, which was not a universal theme for me in the book. And I do like an ensemble.
Well, no, I greatly appreciate that, and I think what I've enjoyed with that universe, the universe of the co-pilots, is to try and bring out the fantasy in the most mundane of daily activities. I wasn't necessarily trying to do something unique, but thank you for saying that. But I think what works in that universe is that the gods are bored. The gods are just thoroughly bored, and we're not talking about like Zeus and Jupiter and Hermes. We're talking about gods that nobody's ever heard of. They've been sitting in heaven for millennia doing absolutely fuck all. And so they've sort of exhausted their range of activities. They've exhausted the normal ways of messing with humanity. And so they get involved in the most trivial of human events. And I think there's a lot of comedy there. It's not necessarily just about being funny. I do try and bring a note of comedy to the piece. But yeah, it's about finding the fantasy in the most mundane of activities.
Well, and what that does is it makes it relatable. And I know that sounds a little odd in a fantasy creative piece, but that little bit of quirkiness there it makes it a quickly relatable story and approachable to probably a pretty wide audience.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I enjoyed that. And the concept of an ensemble piece or a collection of short stories, I think, is not a huge risk to take there as far as the book. I think it's a good idea, especially when you're dealing with, not quote unquote professional writers who can really craft out, a very, very long narrative. I mean, that was a great idea for a project like this.
Well, as a literary critic, do you have any specific advice for some of our writers on, what they can do better next time?
That's a slippery slope, because then the natural response will be, well, write something better than dickless. And, maybe I can, maybe I can't.
That's not the natural response that most people make.
Yeah.
That's the response I'd make. If some jackalope on a podcast starts giving me writing advice, I would probably want to know what's your qualifications.
Right.
Well,
first of all, I'm a mythical creature.
So, right, exactly. In my own mind, it's brilliant. So I read the bookend pieces.
Yeah,
what's that?
Hold on. We're all half centaur, so
I haven't practiced centaur in ages.
Practiced centaur.
Yeah, it's a little rusty.
Anyway, continue. Sorry.
I could not have been more derailed than I was by half centaur background comment. So, I did read. I read 4 of the pieces because I thought it would actually be, the right thing to do to read some of the work before we talk to our friends. Yes, I'm looking at you, Ryan.
I read stories. Don't give me that shit.
Sorry. So I read I figured I'd start with Dalby and then I bookended around it, and let's just say that there is a potential to agree to disagree on some of the other works on the scope. And maybe I shouldn't have read Chris's first, because then the bottom kind of drops out in certain spots. I really liked, and I don't have the title list in front of me because I was scrolling through the 570-page file on my iPad, which is a lot of swiping. But I think it's 2 down from yours, Chris. It's the kind of like
Raise?
It's the like space explorer, Martian universe, time jumping guy.
Threads in an infinite tapestry. Yeah, that's Raise.
That one.
That's
that
the
one.
Yeah.
I really liked that a lot for a lot of the same reasons I liked Chris's, that it was, while certainly there's some themes there that are, popular, it was a pretty original way to go with it. And also good sentence structure, just really excellent. The dialogue flowed really well there as well. Are you laughing or coughing, Ryan?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I'm on mute. I'm on mute, pal.
I know you're mocking tones.
I'm not mocking you. First of all, one thing I've learned from
I'm mocking you.
One thing I've learned from the Facebook group is that there's a lot of talented people in there. So it doesn't surprise me that Ray is talented, because he is very talented
in all things
right.
else.
It seems like everything else he's really into well. So Ray, decent story doesn't shock me.
Yeah, I just thought it was one thing I'm just really kind of a stickler for is the opening paragraph of any piece of writing, creative or not, and to be able to start and finish strong and keep somebody engaged. I just liked that story. I liked what he was trying to get across in under 10,000 words. I thought it played really well. Very creative.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I like
he'll
that
be very
story.
happy to hear that.
That one really pulled
Not
at
that
my
he gives two shits about what I think, but it's, from a somewhat discriminating eye, very strong piece.
Yeah, that one for me, I was reading it, and in the beginning, my husband's in the Navy, and in the beginning when he's talking to his family and getting his 10-minute phone call, it really tugs at your heartstrings. So that one's up there with my favorite stories also.
Yeah, that's really, and again with the ability to draw somebody in early.
I was actually and Ray will know I've spoken about this very early on when I started reading the story. I thought, is he overreaching here? Are the themes that he's laying down, this is very intellectual sci-fi, beautifully done, beautifully written. My worry was, is there going to be a payoff for this at the end? Are the themes that he's bringing up possibly wrappable in 10,000 words? And he absolutely hit that one out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
I think
that's awesome.
I think it is my favorite story in the anthology, actually. From the first couple of pages when I was reading, I was like, okay, where is this going? How can this possibly live up to this? And it absolutely does.
Yeah, I would second that. Like Chris's, I probably from just a pure story standpoint, I like Dalby's just a smidge better. Maybe just because it's so easy to get into and relatable. But I thought Ray's, as a person who likes darker works, or in general, I thought Ray's was really nice because it kind of took you the whole little emotional gambit. You start with sort of that, what Allison was saying, where it kind of gets at your heartstrings, and it finishes there too. Mm-hmm. With kind of an emotional little rabbit punch. So very cool.
Yeah.
Now
That's
the
awesome.
opposite
really
end of the spectrum. For every yin, there is a yang.
Ruh-roh.
And for our yang, we have from a single seed a forest.
Huh.
Interesting. Not where I thought we were going to go.
Which of you lovely people was the head editor for that project?
That was.
I believe I was the one who edited that story. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just asking.
Now I will come to the defense of that story in an interesting way, and it's not an apology for what Jenny was trying to do with that story. A number of stories in this anthology suffered from prequelitis.
Yeah.
A lot of the stories, I think, from a single seed of forest. I think Swordcross Lovers as well. Both are stories that were written in broader existing universes. And one of the challenges there was working with the writers to make sure that they understood that these stories are the first introduction to the universe. Whether they publish them in future anthologies or not, for the writers, they had to get out of the mindset of I'm building this world and this is just one story within it. No, this is the first time the general public is going to have access to your world. And so I think that a lot of the themes of From a Single Cedar Forest are very strong, but I think they will be fleshed out in future stories.
That could make sense. And there could be a case there where I'm known to get jaded, and like as we were talking about how the opening paragraphs were very strong, and those other two that I cited, the opening paragraph here confused me. It was sort of like a half a sprinkling of George R. Martin Tolkien Star Wars epileptic seizure thing happened.
It was Silmarillion-esque in a way.
But I think it's what obviously I disagree. I think the story has merit, but what I liked about that story compared to every other one was it was one moment, it was one scene, one encounter, one meeting of characters. It wasn't an epic. It wasn't a man 10,000 light years away from Earth. It wasn't gods coming down to help a child. It wasn't a guinea pig running off into the forest with a dragon. It was one meeting, one single moment. And I thought that as an idea was a very brave idea.
I do like that. The sort of the encapsulated, long shot scene. Mm-hmm. I think it could definitely go somewhere else. But like you just said, that makes more sense now with the idea that it's part of a fleshed out, bigger world. I think if you're going to do that long, continuous, shot, it either needs more exposition on the front end, or make it really, really more simplistic and let the reader sort of fill in with their imagination some of the other points. Wasn't quite sure where they were trying to take you in the first 1,000 words or so.
No,
and there is probably the most amazing run-on sentence I've ever seen in that opening paragraph. There is 52 words and 4 commas and a hyphen, which gets me all sweaty and verklempt.
I ought to send you one of my research papers one of these days.
One that you wrote or one that you graded?
One that I wrote.
That's terrifying.
I think of all the things that kept me from, because when this thing, Chris and I talked, I kept sending them I've got 3,000 words, but I'm not happy, so I started over. I've got 2,000 words into the story this time. I'm not happy. I started over. My fear of a run-on sentence is almost crippling when I write.
Well, because Nick, the grammar Nazi, will find it.
Well, I know that. I see you've done that to me before, and so I seriously, I got to the point where I was like you did. I looked down and I was like, I haven't had a period in
since middle school.
Yeah, I'm writing a story here like I'm a scriptwriter for Christopher Walken. There's no punctuation at all.
Now, that being said, I think there can be tasteful uses of run-on sentences.
There can.
Well, Dennis Miller is the king of doing he speaks as if he's using a bunch of M dashes and hyphens. And
well, that's the problem with the written word is you can't hear. There's no inflection to save you, or pace. There's no pace and inflection. So, and when it's the second sentence of your story, you can, and the person reading it's a dick, it can throw them off. Because there's some sort of horse lording. There's a husband, a Congress, a team of oxen. What else the hell is in this sentence?
So note to every woman that Nick will ever hit on in a bar using a run-on sentence will put him off.
Oh yeah, you're getting none of this.
Oh, instantly.
According to bad grammar. No, it's that was just something that I'm sure slipped through the cracks. But
I don't think it's a run-on sentence.
You're not looking at what I'm looking at.
Using what coins she could recover from selling her ranch, she was able to buy a dozen wagons, oxen to draw them, and hire teamsters to drive it, and a squad of guards to protect it all. That's the main clause. And then in the middle of that is augmented with a few contributions from investors, most of them probably hoping to win favor from her husband, Mark Capo, due to his recent election to the Thousand Congress. It's an adjectival clause describing...
If adjectival is a real word, I will surrender. But if it's a made-up word...
I second that as a word, adjectival.
Well, damn.
You would.
I'm pretty sure it is a word. The Google confirms it.
How are you spelling it, Rob?
Like adjective with "ival" at the end.
That's right.
Adjectival.
Adjectival, yeah.
Is that really correct? Because I was just...
Yeah,
it is true. It is a real thing. And
I'm sure.
And I know that all of you have been dreaming to say this for years, but Cordero can suck it.
Damn it.
If the only definition of adjectival is on Urban Dictionary, it doesn't count.
That's true.
It wasn't the Urban Dictionary.
It is on the Urban Dictionary, and when on the Urban Dictionary,
I'm
they
sure
ask
it's
you,
also on the Urban Dictionary, but
I do not surrender to the Urban Dictionary. All right.
You should, because the example they give for it is adjectival is a real word. Cordero can suck it.
Oh, well.
and then it's got a picture of you.
God, I hope.
Look,
I hope that Dalby, you're fast enough to have put that up on Urban Dictionary.
no, I'm not, because it takes 3 days to have Urban Dictionary approved.
Oh, really?
Oh,
wow.
So a collective suck it to the group then.
Does that mean that Urban Dictionary is slightly more reliable than Wikipedia?
Did you know?
Well, yes, because nobody holds Urban Dictionary up as like some template of proof.
Fair.
Did you know that Wikipedia is actually more accurate than Encyclopedia Britannica?
Yeah,
that's not surprising. It really isn't. I also read
what word can we get put on Urban Dictionary that isn't there already?
Adjectival.
Fair enough.
Okay. They'll reject it. That word is way too white. Way too cracker of a word.
The 4K Ku Klux Klan Carnival could be a good...
Yeah. And I did read the fourth one there that Rob was touching on with the guinea pig and the ogre or troll or whatever it was.
Smash.
Yeah. And I didn't love it nor not love it. I didn't have strong thoughts on it. So those were the four that I read. Knowing that and knowing my opinions, what would be the next one that you think I should read?
Actually, I'm surprised none of you has mentioned what I think is the sleeper or the dark horse of this entire anthology, which is Through the Rift by Milan Palia.
Agreed.
Didn't get to it. Is that your answer then? That should be where I would go on my flight home?
Definitely.
That was my answer also.
Balázs is a member of our group from Hungary. He came to this. English is not his first language. And I think it is very original, very conceptual, quite funny in a very dark way. Anyone who buys it should read that as one of the first, because it's a great intro to the book. Although it's the last but one story.
I think I'm probably going to end up reading Ray's next, but I'll probably follow it up.
Yeah, they follow each other in the book.
Yeah. So I ended up just skipping to the end and reading Daniel's. So
I think an overwhelming point, though, is that regardless of what your taste is, and I'm talking to our audience here, you've heard a lot of different type of people's perspective here, but there is most likely something for everyone. In this anthology here, as long as you are, at least in some way, shape, or form, a fan of sci-fi or fantasy, I can guarantee there'll be something, probably many things in here to enjoy. and to possibly motivate you to write something of your own. So it's definitely worth an investment, both for a good cause and to just support creative writing in general. So pick it up.
Here.
Thank you.
Order it. Hard copy, digital copy, whatever.
Print on demand.
We suggest print on demand and have it for all eternity on your bookshelf.
You can augment bookshelf with it, actually. It's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do need any professional artwork done for your cover, I do recommend you contact our editor, Allison Montalvo.
Oh my gosh. That's not a great idea.
Way to sell yourself, Ali.
Yeah.
I now demand Allison's artwork on my copy.
I mean, it will be on your copy whenever you get it. It's the front and back cover, but
my version doesn't have a front cover, so I need to get one.
What?
No, it's because Ryan asked me for the PDF version. So
yeah.
Well, as Chris is familiar with, but Allison, you may not be. At the end of our show, we'd like to ask you what you've been geeking on this week.
Oh, goodness.
And so you can either go first or last. It's up to you.
I get to choose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As our newest.
You're our most favorite guest.
Oh, thank you. I'll go first.
Bold.
So,
Not a lot of people pick that option.
really? Well, now I'm nervous, but
No, go for it.
I've been straight living in hotels for the past month-ish because I'm in the middle of moving, and I've been binging on Steven Universe. Does that count for the?
Excellent.
That's exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah, it's possibly my new favorite show, and I feel slightly less like an adult for saying that, but it's amazing.
No, don't. It's a great show.
You're on a nerd podcast, so I think you're okay.
and you just edited a book where a guinea pig and a dragon are friends. I think adulthood is out the window in this one.
And we ship it.
And we ship it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a Netflix show, or I'm not familiar with it? What's
It's on Cartoon Network, but I think there are 2 seasons on Hulu, and you can watch it on the Cartoon Network app.
okay.
But it's a cartoon, and it's kind of for children. It's like one of those where it's like, entertaining
Like
for children,
Teletubbies
but
for children?
different levels for adults that children don't understand. No, not like Teletubbies.
No, yeah, not like.
But not Adult Swim either. Okay, I got you.
No.
Somewhere in the middle. All right. SpongeBob-esque.
It's definitely they're 11 minutes long. It's worth watching a few if you're bored.
Oh, fantastic.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a really good show.
I agree. It's excellent.
Allison, now you, because you were bold enough to go first, you get to pick anyone else you want.
That was going to be my question. Wow,
yeah.
What power. Let's go with the critic, Nick. What are you geeking on?
Well, she's a bold one. I like it. I'm way late to the game. As if you listen to this show at all, you know I'm usually at least a month behind whatever's trendy. So I just got a hold of
He just found a new band called Panic at the Disco. He's really
yeah.
They've got this great song, I Write Sins Not Tragedies.
It's funny you say that. My daughter's going to see Panic this week. It's her favorite band. Yeah, favorite band.
That's
nice.
Brendan Urie, super fan. But
anyway,
I digress. It's true. So I finally discovered Westworld, and so we knocked.
It's so good.
Yeah, we knocked that out last week, wife and I. So I have very limited geek time, but kind of carved out a strong week there of watching an episode and a half or so every night. That's a fun little mind fucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it?
So super cool. The critic that I am, it started to kind of lose me about episode 5, and it started to get itself right. But it took a few of those like Lost season 3, like little mini jumps.
I agree.
with whatever his name is, super bad guy's little army of like shadow men with horns. I was like, okay, where are you going? But
Wyatt.
Yeah, Wyatt. That whole. But overall, just I mean, for the same reasons that I was complimenting Dalby's piece, I like things that are kind of very, very off the mainstream path in terms of creativity and. I'm not. Obviously, everybody likes Westworld, so I'm not saying anything profound, but enjoyed it very much.
Nice,
very cool show. I am going to throw it back to my southern nemesis, Mr. Dalby.
Well, I have been reading Terry Pratchett's nonfiction work. I'm obviously, as I think many people who are listening to this show are huge fans of Discworld. They released a collection of Terry Pratchett's nonfiction. It's called A Slip of the Keyboard: Reflections on Life, Death, and Hats. And awesome. It is just if don't read this if you've never read Discworld. Don't read this if you're not a Pratchett fan. But if you, like me, if you cried when Sir Terry died of Alzheimer's in 2016, sorry, this is all his nonfiction stuff going back to like random articles that he wrote in the 1980s for like random fanzines and random mags, right to his final battle in the UK to get euthanasia legalized, because he was dying of Alzheimer's for a number of years, and he famously called it an embuggerance that he couldn't choose the way that he was going to end his life, and I think it's masterfully curated. Some of the pieces you don't understand why they're in there, but once you finish it just shows you 35 years of the life of one of the finest creative writers ever made.
What was that word? Embuggerance?
Yeah, he designed he invented the word embuggerance for.
If that's not a word, that's our Urban Dictionary project then for this week. Tribute.
So yeah, Terry Pratchett, A Slip of the Keyboard. I can't recommend it enough.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Very cool.
What's your choice now, Dolbs?
I'm going to throw it back to Joe.
So we've been off for a month, and so I've actually been dipping my fingers into lots of little things that I don't always have time to
rephrase.
Nope. Keep it. You just rule 34 in this episode.
You're welcome.
We'll fix that and post it.
I would say probably the biggest thing I'm geeking on is sometime in like 2009, I'm pretty sure, Ryan gave me Stephen King's On Writing, and I finally got around to reading it, and it is phenomenal. If you just, and it actually works out to that it fits the theme of the show. If you have an interest in continuing to write or to write professionally, I would highly recommend reading Stephen King's On Writing. Everything in it was really fantastic and really helpful to me. And so I hope it would be helpful to other people.
It is a cool
nice
book.
Awesome.
That intrigues me. Let's check that out.
You would really enjoy it, Nick. A lot of his rules to writing are right up your alley.
Yes.
Yeah, I would love to read that, actually.
It also paints a very vivid picture as to why he hates Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
Does he need to really paint any sort of elaborate reason for why?
No, but you can.
No, but he's
No,
Stephen
but that
King,
doesn't mean
so.
that he can't or shouldn't.
Well, yeah, I suppose he can say it better than I can even think it. So.
But yeah, it's really good. So and I think the advice he gives at the end for how to break into the industry is indispensable. It's really, really helpful. So, Rob, how about you? What are you geeking on this week?
Well, it's definitely been less profound than that. I recently started watching the Netflix original Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate events. Oh, that's really well done. Neil Patrick Harris is a fantastic Count Olaf. They do a really, really good job encapsulating the stories. It's wonderfully done.
Now, did you read the books?
And Oh yeah, no, I read those way back whenever I was in middle school, I think, or like early high school, something like that. And yeah, no, it tastefully done. It's just like watching the books essentially. And Patrick Warburton does such an amazing job as Lemony Snicket narrating. Like it is just fantastic. So really, really pleased with how it's been done so far. I've yet to finish it, but I'm probably a little over halfway through now or so. So
that's 2 really high recommendations for that show that I've gotten from people whose opinions I respect.
I would really recommend it. It's really good.
Okay.
It's very well done. Yeah. Ryan, what about you?
I've been dabbling back in Lost a little bit here and now on my sleepless nights. But
really,
I think that might be why I was so keen to pick out Saeed, because I've been watching.
He shows up in weird places, man, through life.
and I haven't been watching Lost like linearly. I've been like, oh, here's an episode I liked. Oh.
You've been watching it the right way.
Yes, exactly. But that's not what I've been geeking on this week. The Young Pope is what I've really been into this week. HBO and Jude Law's new miniseries. I cannot recommend it enough, folks. It tells the story of how old's Jude Law? 47, 45?
Something like that. Sure.
Yeah.
It's a pope that's that old and American. And all these old time cardinals who think they know how the church, and more specifically the Vatican, is to be run, go head to head with 40-year-old arrogant American pope, and it is priceless. I laughed. Episode 4, I laughed almost from start to finish, and I don't think it's supposed to be a comedy. All
right, well, I will have to give it a go then.
We know the kinds of things you laugh at. It doesn't have to be a comedy.
Well, at one point, there's a nun who's crying, and the Pope says, "Why are you crying?" And she says, "My sister's dying." And the Pope says, "What's wrong with her?" And the nun looks at him and says, "She's dying." And I fucking lost it. Something about that interchange was like, that's tremendous. So yes, the young Pope. Be sure to watch The Young Pope.
Is that based on a real pope, or I
don't think so, and I don't think it's based on a.
Which one was Sidious?
Darth Sidious was the emperor, actually, not a pope.
Oh yeah.
Well, you're mixing it with Jar Jar.
You're mixing real life and Star Wars again, Rob.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Has there ever been an American pope?
No. And there most likely never will be an American pope.
I wouldn't think so.
That's too much American power in the world.
Yeah.
Well, isn't Trump pope?
Yeah, I think so.
No, he's God King.
God Emperor.
Yeah.
Demigod.
Cheeto Voldemort.
Cheeto.
We'll have to. It's maybe a later show, but we'll have to figure out if you guys can do your research. Get back to us on to what his Horcruxes are, so we can.
Well, we know the hair is the wig, one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the hair is definitely
so
one.
Is it like
Tower?
Is his hair equal to like Nagini? Is that?
Mm-hmm. He keeps it close so that he can protect it.
No, Melania
feeds it at night.
Melania, is she a Horcrux?
Oh,
yeah.
She's the
poor woman.
Robot.
Robot. Well, we will wear a couple things.
Trump steaks, because nobody would ever think to look there.
Trump University. We
Nobody
digress.
would go there.
Where can our esteemed listeners find and purchase our lovely collection that is Delve?
So Delve is available on Amazon in Kindle and in paperback.
And where could our listeners, if they chose to, join the greatest group of trollops and Von Droops this side of the Atlantic Ocean?
To start with, we're working on the Van Droops, but we are the greatest collection of trollops on any ocean, just to be clear. You should have done your research a little bit better before the show. You can find us with a simple Facebook search, A Song of Ice and Fire group with a top search. We have about 53,000 members right now. And we've seen an uptick in the couple of days after the last 2 times we were on. So we hope to see it the 3rd time as well.
Oh, look at that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Giving something back.
If you're lucky, Chris Dalby will give you a nickname.
True.
And if you do buy, it's sort of a little scavenger here. If you do buy the print hard copy, soft copy version of the book, and you find Chris Dalby, he'll write a poem in the front cover for you and autograph it.
This is true.
It's true.
But only
Just
if it's
saying.
about only if it's about a slash relationship between a guinea pig and a unicorn. Guinea pig and a dragon. My apologies.
It's your own artistic world,
Also
man.
perfect.
It's
Do as
your
you
poem,
will.
brother.
Good man.
Well, thanks for coming on, you two. Chris, for the 3rd time.
Thank you.
And Allison, you were glorious.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure.
We will we'll get back.
All right.
We
and
always love it, guys. All the best. We'll catch up with you hopefully real soon.
Thanks a lot, Nick.
Sounds
Bye-bye.
good. Bye.
Cheers. Dead silence.
Hey there, Cartoon Joe here. If you like what we do, head on over to patreon.com for special extras and crispy num-nums that you can get for just a few dollars a month. That's patreon.com/geekcastlive.
If you're one of them reader sorts and you're always on the go, we've got something for you. Check out audible.com/geekcastlive for a free 30-day trial and find some of your favorite books recorded for your mobile convenience. Check it out. Who knows? You might learn something, like the fact that all Stephen King books should be narrated by Morgan Freeman's brother, Sam.
Hey everybody, GCR. I want to talk to you about waywardraven.com. These guys are creating some pretty rad content, and you can find it at waywardraven.com. Use our discount code NECKBEARD, save yourself 15%, and, make yourself feel good about a purchase. Not like that rowing machine you had to get because you thought for sure this would be the year you lost weight. Don't get one of those. Don't get one of those copper pans where the eggs don't stick. Get yourself a good, independently created comic book. Do it.
Nico here. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Chap Snatter, and listen to our twats. Especially from Rob Bass, as he will keep you up to date on all the latest and greatest going on with the show. Also follow us on YouTube, iTunes, and RedTube. To 5 stars. We love you.
Well, that was the first episode of the 4th season. We're happy to be back. We hope you're happy that we're back. And, we have a lot planned. So stick with us. Keep listening. Thank you for listening. And welcome back to the Bit of Bass. This week's Bit of Bass is a little something I picked up from HBO's The Young Pope. It's Senza perche by Nada. Boy, I butchered that, I'm sure. Enjoy.
Lei non parla mai, lei non dice mai niente. Ha bisogno d'affetto e pensa che il mondo non sia solo questo. Non c'è niente di meglio che stare ferma dentro a uno specchio, com'è giusto che sia quando la sua testa va giù. E tutta la vita gira infinita senza un perché, e tutto viene dal niente, niente rimane senza di te. Lei parla mai.